video uncovers the true story of Maura Murray, and she vanished in 2004 after a crash on a remote road. Left behind puzzling clues and no clear answers. Was it escape or something darker? For knowing this, let's go to the story.
Maura Ann Murray was born on August 28, 1989. She grew up in a middle-class family with 2 loving parents and 3 siblings. From everything we've gathered about her, it seems she was a normal teenager. She enjoyed spending time with her friends, going shopping, hanging out at the local mall, and just having fun like anyone else her age. After graduating high school in 2007, Maura attended a community college for a year before dropping out for personal reasons. At some point in her life, she began working as a waitress at a local restaurant and saved enough money to buy herself a 2003 Sereon. One day in early 2004, Maura called up her mother and told her she wanted to take a break from work and school and go on a vacation. Her mom had no problem with this and even offered to pay for it. However, Maura insisted on paying for the trip herself, so her mother gave her some cash and sent her off on her way. Maura left on February and drove up to New Hampshire. She spent the night in a motel in the town of Conway and explored the area during the day. On February 9, 2004, Maura left the motel and checked out. She then proceeded to drive south down Route 23, also known as the Concomagus Highway. It's a scenic route that follows the Swift River through the White Mountains National Forest. This is the last place that anyone knows that Maura was alive. It wasn't long before something strange began to happen. Some drivers on the road reported seeing an accident or a car swerving into a ditch. Other motorists said they saw a young woman standing next to a car on the side of the road waving for help, while others claimed they saw a man and a woman walking down the highway together. Nobody paid much attention until later when news broke of Maura's disappearance. Then people began coming forward with stories of what they'd seen, but none of them were able to provide any concrete details. For example, nobody could remember what kind of car was involved or get a good look at the license plate number. Even the description of the woman was a bit vague. Some said she looked like Maura, but no one could be completely sure. Also, everyone who witnessed either the accident or the woman on the side of the road said that they stopped to see if she needed help. But when they got out of their cars, the woman was gone. And when the police arrived, they found absolutely nothing. It was almost as if she had vanished from thin air, which is why the case quickly gained national attention and why I'm telling you about it today. Because if there's anything weirder than a missing persons case, it's a missing persons case with 0 leads. It's no witnesses, no body, no signs of foul play, and no motive. The investigation quickly turned up nothing. And within a month, the media had lost interest and moved on to the next big thing. But Maura's family never gave up hope of finding her. They put up reward posters in the town and kept the pressure on the police to keep searching. And eventually, they got a tip that led them to a wooded area near where Maura's car was last seen. However, when the police searched the area, they only found some clothes that matched what Maura had been wearing. But other than that, nothing. As the years passed, the theory that Maura had run away became stronger and stronger. Every time her family thought they were close to finding her, they would get their hopes up only to be let down once again. In 2014, a private investigator hired by the family visited every location where Maura had been sighted and took soil samples from the roadside. He then brought the samples back to a lab where he hoped they could find some trace evidence, like maybe some fibers or hair. But the results came back negative, and they didn't find anything. At this point, most people probably think that the case is hopeless and that Maura is dead, but not her brother. In 2016, he decided to take matters into his own hands and began working on a documentary about his sister's disappearance. He interviewed all of the witnesses, revisited all of the crime scenes, and examined all of the evidence with fresh eyes. And he uncovered some very interesting things. For starters, he learned that many of the witness accounts were actually wrong. For example, one witness said that he saw a woman on the side of the road who looked like Maura, but he wasn't 100% sure. Another witness said they saw a man and a woman walking down the road, but they couldn't remember what they were wearing, or if they matched Maura's description. And a third witness said that he saw a car that looked like Maura's, but he couldn't remember the license plate number or if it actually was hers. This made Michael realize that he didn't know for sure that his sister had been seen at all. Sure, people had reported seeing a woman who looked like Maura, but nobody had actually talked to her. Nobody knew for sure that it was her. And if it wasn't, then that meant she could still be out there somewhere. He then decided to revisit one of the crime scenes and take a closer look. He wanted to see if there was anything that the police had missed. And wouldn't you know it, he actually found something. He found a piece of fabric in the snow that matched Maura's jacket. He immediately brought it back to the lab to be tested. But unfortunately, it didn't contain any DNA, because the snow had melted and contaminated the sample. Despite this, Michael refused to give up. He continued to search for his sister and even traveled to Las Vegas to see a psychic who had a reputation for solving cold cases. The psychic told him to look into a local legend that said a mysterious woman had been spotted in the woods near where Maura's car was found. But when Michael investigated, he found no evidence that any such woman existed. So it looks like this cold case might never be solved. But there are a few theories as to what could have happened to Maura. The first theory is that she was killed by a stranger while standing on the side of the road. This is just a guess based on the fact that she was never seen again and her car was found abandoned. However, there is no evidence that she was murdered and no suspects have ever been named. The second theory is that Maura ran out of gas and walked into the woods to seek help. This is unlikely, however, because she was last seen in broad daylight and there were plenty of people driving by who could have helped her. Also, her car was full of gas when it was found, which means that she didn't run out of gas while stranded on the side of the road. The third theory is that Maura got into an accident and was injured so badly that she could uncall for help. If this is true, though, it's strange that there was no damage to her car or to the other vehicle involved. Also, there were no witnesses to the accident and no evidence that she had been taken to the hospital. And finally, the fourth theory is that Maura got into her car willingly with a stranger and left town. This is the least likely scenario, but it's possible that she could have met someone on the road who convinced her to hitchhike with them. However, there is no evidence that she did this, and it's unlikely that anyone would have been willing to risk their life by taking her into the middle of nowhere. As you can see, there are many theories surrounding Maura's disappearance, but none of them make much sense. It's possible that we may never know what really happened to her, but one thing is for sure, she will never be forgotten. What is your opinion about this case? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.